All right, guys. If you can hear me, I think you can. Can you hear this?
Oh, yeah.
If you heard that sound effect, you know that I got my sound effects back. Happy Saturday. This is your sound check here. Your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about as we give you a special edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television on a Saturday morning. How about that? Kind of old school Birds throwback. You got to love that, right? I see Tampa Bay Ray in the background. I see Mr. Paul Stewart in the background from Bucs, BuckPower.com. And of course, I see Mr. Andrew Davis of Two Giant Goofballs who wants to jump in. And of course, as always, we take your phone calls at 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The Bucs have a new offensive coordinator. What do you think about it? You'll be able to tell me here in about 1:37 with this intro. Share away, if you will, my friends. We'll see you soon here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Keep it locked. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television on a happy Saturday morning edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. I'm your host, Peter Blake. How do we start off this show? As you know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have their new offensive coordinator in the fold. They promote passing coordinator Josh Grizzard, the 34-year-old new offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll definitely talk to you. And this is a gift to all the Bucs fans out there. This is a gift to all the web heads out there, 274,000 views in the last 28 days on Facebook. I said 274,000 views. Amazing. We appreciate that. Furthermore, not only are we going to do a show today, but also we got something in store for you tomorrow, live from Ferg's with this guy right here. We got plenty of guests. We'll take your phone calls as always. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So we'll be out live at Ferg's tomorrow. We'll be taking your phone calls today, taking your phone calls tomorrow, and having this guy on with us. Here we go.
Mr. Kennedy!
Let me go out to Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, as I have my sound effects back.
Heaven help us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing today?
Brother, I went to a hockey game and a fight broke out, or I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. Brian Bradley and Rick Peckham in the Hall of Fame tonight against the Islanders over at the Palace. We've got two dogs in the back room, special guests coming on. Fantastic time. And yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to lock it down tomorrow here at the pregame show for the Pro Bowl, live from the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill down there on Central Avenue, just below 16th Street in the Edge District of St. Petersburg.
I love it. I'll tell you right now, I want to get out to this guy because we haven't had him on the Sports Web in a long time, but we got him back. Mr. Paul Stewart there, buckpower.com over there and across the pond, if you will. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. As the Bucs get their man, they lose Liam Cohen. They get left at the altar. You're a historian. I felt like it was Bill Parcells part 2, part 3, because Parcells did it to the Bucs twice. Liam Cohen does it, but now that's all in the background there because the Bucs get Josh Grizzard. Welcome to the evolution.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. It's good to be back again, and good to see you there, Ray, because I remember being at Ferg's last time I was over in Tampa. I had lunch there with a couple of former Bucs, Randy Grimes and Barry Smith. It's a very, very place that's dear to my heart. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking all things Bucs, what's been going on the last few weeks, and, yeah, the hockey as well. I'll be watching that game first thing tomorrow morning, UK time. I'll watch the games on delay, but, yeah, I love my Lightning as well. Pro Bowl, yeah, man, we can forget about that one, but it's
yeah, no care about the Pro Bowl games, but we'll definitely got your pregame show there live from Ferg's tomorrow, I believe, starting at 1 o'clock. So that's our gift to you, and we'll continue to go to Ferg's. We'll also continue to try to find something around in the Tampa area because I live right down the street. I kind of got some ideas at this point. You know, the more we do the Sports Web, the less that I have to drive Uber. Not to say I don't like driving my Tesla around and making money, but I'd rather do this at this point. And with that being said, let's go out to this guy right here, the giant goofball himself of two giant goofballs, Mr. Andrew Davis. Welcome to the evolution, my friend. How you doing today?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Andrew.
So let's get into it. The Bucs, of course. I'll start with Paul here, and we'll go around. But I just wanted to get your initial thoughts, not only on Liam Cohen, the new hiring of Grizzard as the offensive coordinator, but the season in general.
Okay, well, starting with the Cohen situation, I have no problem with someone becoming a head coach in an NFL team. Okay, when I say NFL team, I'll put that in inverted commas because we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars here. There are only 32 such jobs in the world. He deserves this chance. Good luck to him. It was the way he did it. The way he said to the Bucs, oh, yeah, I'll come back and stay, and then jump ship again. So that leaves a bit of a sour taste. In the end, good luck to him. He's got the job. I wish him all the very best, apart from when he plays the Bucs. In terms of moving on with Tampa Bay, now keeping it in-house, I'm quite happy with. Because Josh Grizzard, I don't know the guy, I've never met him, but he knows the Buccaneer offense. He was part of the scheme that had such a great season in 2024. So Baker Mayfield's going to be comfortable with him, as are the other offensive players. So I'm very happy with that. You don't have to learn a new scheme. To be honest, I think it's good for everybody. We can now move on and look forward to 2025. And then in about 9 to 10 months' time, we can all stop giving him a hard time when a screen pass doesn't work on 3rd and 15.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Paul, and I know, Ray, you want to jump in here. And
You mind if I jump in real quick and ask Paul a question?
Yeah,
we're literally 5 minutes away from celebrating our 50th season as the NFL in 1976 to 2026. How many years of those 50 years, we'll just round it up to, Paul, would a Buccaneers organization had a lot of problems with the drama that a Liam Cohen situation created? And what's the difference here in 2024 or 5 now with Jason Light as your GM in this current organization?
I think, Ray, to be honest, how much drama have we had in those 50 years? Probably all 50, because we are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And nothing works. The difference is now we have this thing called social media. And whereas in the past, Dave from accounts would stand at the water cooler and no one would listen to him because he was talking crap. Now he's on social media and there are 500 other people called Dave who talk crap as well and like his comments. So you see a lot of stupidity getting posted. But to be honest, it's all part of the world we now live in the NFL in 2025. And we'll get on to the whole Kansas City Chiefs referees garbage that's been going on. For the Buccaneers, it's worked out well. They've stayed in-house. Yes, there's drama, but there always is. But to be honest, I've seen a lot worse in past years. Don't forget, in 2002, we didn't even get a head coach until February when they went back and got John Gruden.
Yeah, very true. And we'll get to what they should do when it comes to compensation, because I got some ideas and I posted it on Facebook with the offseason. We'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to get out to Andrew Davis here of the Two Giant Goofballs. What did you originally think of Liam Cohen leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We never got your thoughts on that. And what did you think of the new hiring of Josh Grizzard, the passing coordinator last year, which, by the way, Bucs fans should be excited because the Bucs were 3rd in the National Football League when it came to total offense. And then on top of it, number 1 with a 50.9% on 3rd down conversions. Pretty damn good hire. What did you say, Two Giant Goofballs there, Mr. Giant Goofball himself, Andrew Davis?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good hire. You got some continuity going with the offense, obviously, but getting somebody who's familiar with everybody in the room obviously was a big part of what you guys did on offense. Honestly, I think the whole Liam Cohen thing is overblown as far as the impact. I mean, you guys have had 2 offensive coordinators now each of the past 2 seasons. Baker Mayfield has done very well, I think, in both seasons with you guys. I think the big difference this year is point blank, you guys have an actual rushing attack now with the addition of, Bucky Irving there. So, I don't know how much of that credit for the offense goes to, Liam Cohen and how much of that goes to the addition of a running game. Because it's a big thing when you can go, okay, well, now I have to actually respect when they go to hand off the football. Now I have to go ahead and not just, put everybody deep at that point because I have to put somebody in the box just in case Bucky Irving goes for a run here. So it changes the whole dynamic of the offense as a whole there compared to what it was last year, without him there. So, and as far as Cohen, I'm not so upset about Cohen the way everything went down. I mean, I know obviously I'm not as involved as you guys are in this whole thing, but I'm like, you know what? Okay, he said he wasn't going to take the job with the Jaguars. He didn't want to deal with their GM. Point blank was the reason. They get rid of the GM. The situation changed. Now, can you say he didn't exactly go about this the best way by not being in full contact with him when he went back to Jacksonville and all that kind of stuff? Of course. But I'm not going to begrudge a man who's sitting there with a great offer on the table to come back to the Bucs. And it's like, hold on, before I sign this, let me see real quick what I can do here as well. The only thing I could say is he could have signed it. It didn't matter. The Bucs couldn't have stopped him from going to, obviously, to Jacksonville, be the head coach in that direction either. And again, the communication could have been better. But I haven't heard Liam Cohen talk about it. And that's my biggest issue with this whole thing, is he hasn't talked about it. And typically when one side stays quiet, the other side is trying to control the narrative. It's either very skewed or the other person staying quiet because they messed up and they know it.
Well,
which one of the scenarios it is.
Let me go ahead and correct you here. I'll come full screen because he has talked about it. He talked about it with Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, who, great work as always, traveling up there for that press conference. And he said it was all about business. He said something along the lines of, time will heal all wounds. I know Jason Light is upset with me on the way it was handled. And the Bucs, basically here, Paul, they blocked 2 interviews, Kevin Carberry and the offensive line assistant. Yes, from getting those interviews with the Bucs, and they should have. And the way he burned the bridge. And listen, I'm all about trying to get a promotion and trying to get more money. People go, well, you wouldn't turn it down. There's a proper way to do that, Paul, and it's by giving your 2 weeks, being upfront, having transparency, which is what Cohen didn't do. So he has talked about it, and he said it was all about business. And then in the same breath here, Paul, he said that he's all about honesty, but he was not honest in this situation. We're turning the page, though, but that's what he said there, Andrew. So I want to correct you on that because he has talked about it. He said it was basically all about business. It was his dream job. So,
but he didn't go into particulars, is what I mean. Like there was rumors about him supposedly using his kid as an excuse, being sick and stuff like that. I just haven't heard the details from him to sit there and say, okay, he did mess up, or okay, they're just little, hurt over how things went down. I don't know the particulars, and that's why I'm saying I've heard the Bucs supposedly, how things went down, but I haven't heard the detailed response like that from Cohen. He can sit there and say, yeah, they're upset, it was all business, blah, 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 but that's not going to the details of how things went down in the timeline and all.
Right. Yeah. Well, his wife did come out and say that they did have it, and they do have a sick kid, but at the time of it, to me, it was doubtful because Cohen was in Jacksonville. The Bucs knew he was in that building at that point. They got tipped off. He basically ghosted the Bucs. So she came out and defended her husband, but everybody knew that Cohen was in Jacksonville.
It's just days of our lives, guys. Really, I mean, right? It happened. But all my entire life, I know I had one job that I never even went in that last time to quit. It's like the writing was so on the wall. I didn't have it. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't for me. They didn't want me. Probably did because I was a good worker. But we've all been there. That's the reason why this thing hits home. But at the end of the day, that ship has sailed literally now. And best of luck to him. Really, I'd like to see him have success with Trevor Lawrence because that means I get to see the Trevor Lawrence from Clemson 102 years ago, and that wouldn't be a bad thing until we see him in Super Bowl 60.
Super Bowl 60. So.
I had to throw it. I had to for Paul have a little laugh there.
Trevor Lawrence is the per-plus version of Daniel Jones. I'm sorry, you're not going to see anything special out of him. Point.
I mean, you agree with that, Paul? Cohen does get entirely too much credit for this offense, and it just comes down to players at the end of the day. With, of course, Baker Mayfield leading the way there with 41 passing touchdowns.
To be honest, what I've looked over the last few years with the offense was the running game in 2022 with Byron Leftwich. That failed because of Tom Brady refusing to throw deep and run the plays. He was dumping the ball off the whole time. And teams after week 3 started rolling up and playing 24 men in the box to stop the run. In 2023, Baker comes in and the running game was still struggling, but there were situations where you could see the running game starting to evolve. Now, last year, Liam Cohen brought in some different run concepts, and I've done a bit of analysis on the All-22 film to look at these situations. The offensive line was a lot better. They were playing a different blocking scheme. And you could see that the run game was more successful because of that change in strategy. Now, does that mean Josh Grizzard carries on with those same, blocking philosophies? I would imagine he does. He's the expert in this field. None of us are. So what I want to see the only thing I want to see with the offensive line is the left guard, Brent Bredesen, is a free agent. He was on a 1-year deal. Does he get a new contract? Do you extend Gedeke because he goes into his option year this year as a second-round pick from 2021? So those are the situations that I want to see looked at. Is the running game is a lot better, as Andrew said, but it really doesn't come. Do you carry on with the same scheme? And I think the Buccaneers do because they've stayed in-house.
Yeah, they stayed in-house, and I got to ask you because you are for me, the historian of the Tampa. I don't know what you want to be called now because I don't want to see the unofficial. So what is your title, Sir Paul Stewart there?
His Eminence.
The Buccaneer historical expert is the moniker now.
Historical expert right there, Paul Stewart. When you see Bucky Irving, because our good friend, the media icon himself, Mr. TJ Reeves, said 25 years to the day, the Bucs get a clone of Warrick Dunn and Bucky Irving. Is that what you see with Irving when you see him on the field?
Yes, I do. And I mean, it was a very good way of, using the two-pronged attack. Rashad White, it's actually Rashad's birthday tomorrow, something he can celebrate. But he and Bucky were a good double act, and that's what worked. And then as the season wore on, you go with the hot hand. It's the same as which reliever do you bring out the bullpen first in baseball. You go with the guy who's been pitching really well. It's no knock on Rashad White. He did a fantastic job. And don't forget, Sean Tucker as the third string was great. So Bucky Irving was really, really good. Something to remember about Warrick Dunn. He was never the starting feature back on his own for the Buccaneers. It was always WD-40, Warrick Dunn and Mike Allstott. So in the same way as you had Dunn and Allstott there, you've now got Irving and White doing it for the Buccaneers in 2024 and hopefully 2025. So it is a combined effort. But all these people who were posting comments about Bucky Irving was snubbed for Rookie of the Year, no, there were simply 5 other great offensive rookies in the NFL last year. Bucky Irving was probably 6th or 7th. But in terms of rookie running backs the Bucs have had, I would put him alongside with Doug Martin's 2012 season and Warrick Dunn in 97 as the best rookie running performances the Bucs have ever had.
Love it. And, for me, with I got to ask you really quick, and then we'll go out to Ray here. Todd Bowles, where do you stand on him? Because a lot of the Bucs fan base wanted him fired. They wanted to promote Liam Cohen. What do you stand on Todd Bowles? And do you think once again, as we sit here going into 2025, if he doesn't make a deep run in the playoffs, could he once again be
Playoffs? He's the head coach of the Buccaneers, and I'm behind him 100%.
Okay, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about right here. Mr. Bucs historian himself, Paul Stewart of buckpower.com. If people don't know what buckpower.com is all about, go ahead and promote that for me, if you will.
It is the historical site of the Buccaneers. It's got every player, every game, everything Bucs. Every single player, 1,350 players in Bucs history have their own page and picture galleries. I've got every game with stats, video highlights, all the game the Buccaneers have played against the Giants, even going back to when they shut us out in 1977 in the old Tampa Stadium with people like Ricky Bell and John McKay on the sideline. But I've got enough Bucs wins over the Giants as well for the Bucs fans to really enjoy. Sorry, Andrew, but those are numbers.
Hey, that's the game, baby. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Why don't we go to January 1st, 2008?
Oh, let's not do that.
Sorry, I have no memory of that game. That game, it comes up with a 404. Cannot find that screen error. Sorry, my friend.
Yes. But I do remember the game. I believe it was 24-14. Eli Manning, Brandon Jacobs on their way to defeating Tom Brady and the undefeated New England Patriots. And of course, it starts out there at Raymond James Stadium.
Was it Jeff Garcia you guys had back then too?
It was Jeff Garcia. Yeah. And by the way, the year of, and you can remember this, talking about leaving somebody at the altar, but I thought working at 10:10 a.m. at the time, before midnight, the talk was, Paul, that Brett Favre was going to be the quarterback that year. And of course, it doesn't work out. The Jets at the 12th hour swoop in. Do you remember where you were in that situation with Brett Favre supposedly going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer with John Gruden, and then eventually it falling through with Jeff Garcia eventually just staying the quarterback?
I can't reveal my sources, but there was never any way Brett Favre was coming to Tampa Bay. But I do remember that playoff game because I was calling it for British television.
Really? Go ahead and talk. Let's get into that. I know you can't reveal your sources, but why wasn't Brett Favre not coming to Tampa Bay?
It was never, ever going to happen. It was media speculation, but that's as far as I can go on that one. Sorry.
Okay.
The funny thing is also probably the same exact amount of possibility that John Gruden was going to actually draft another, ended up being a Packer quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers coming out that season. He tells him, "You're on the board. We're going to take you." It's funny how Gruden's involved on both sides. I'm sure both sides have a good story to tell.
Yeah.
Aaron, Favre, the OG masseuse incident. That's all. You guys dodged that bullet. Trust me on that.
Well, not only because he didn't play well for the Jets that year, and then eventually he went to the Minnesota Vikings along with Randy Moss, and they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game where they played the hated Saints in the Bounty Gate scandal, where the Saints actually won the Super Bowl versus the Colts. I know because I was down there for Radio Row where Peyton Manning and the Colts versus the Saints there, 2010. So good stuff, good memories.
So what is it? What is it with long-time Green Bay Packer quarterbacks who become such complete assholes the minute they leave Lambeau Field?
Oh, wait, Bart Starr just called and said, who you calling an asshole? I'm kidding.
I think they always
I'll bring up names like Lynn Dickey as well and Randy Wright. So, yeah, don't worry. I'll go with this. There's always an exception to every rule.
Don't call Dickey an asshole. That'd be bad.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Let me go on to the comments here. Jesus. Oh, my gosh. All right. I'm right.
Slip that one in.
You kind of did. All right. I'm right. Says, good morning, Peter. What's up, man? How you doing? There on YouTube. Appreciate it. YouTube super chats are open. Of course, Facebook stars. If you love the content, Cam Decker. I don't know why I'm reading this guy. The Rays have no home this season. Ray, you're a big time baseball fan. Paul, I know you're a big time baseball fan. I know we're jumping around here, but we got to talk about it. The Tampa Bay Rays in the stadium situation. What a debacle. What are your thoughts on that? And how does that work out? How excited are you that the Rays are going to be playing in Tampa this year? And do you think that deal with St. Pete is dead?
When it comes to this subject, I will defer to our very good friend and expert on it, Mr. J.P. Peterson, who's been all over the subject since day one. And apparently, at UFC 413, he will be taking on Stu Sternberg in a 3-round bout, and my money's on JP on that one. In terms of the Rays, I feel really sorry for the Rays. I mean, it was an act of God. It destroyed Tropicana Field. There's not a lot you can do about it, and they've made the best of a bad situation. In terms of where they should be playing, to be honest, it takes so long to drive across the Skyway Bridge and get to St. Pete. I would have the Rays in Tampa in an ideal situation. In terms of this season, we don't know what it's going to be like. Now, don't remember, during the COVID year, the Toronto, they played in Dunedin for a time. So it has been done before, and it'll be interesting to see. It may create a better atmosphere because you're actually going to sell out every game. There's only 12,000 seats. But to be honest, I get excited about a baseball when I get into March. I start planning my fantasy drafts and watching spring training baseball, which I'll be out there for. But yeah, it's a very difficult situation. Right now, the Rays are the third wheel in terms of sports in Tampa, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
And I think that's because of ownership here, Paul. And I feel like Stu should sell. I hope he sells. I hope Major League Baseball makes him sell. Paul, do you think he sells eventually?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. That's my bad. What?
Somebody walk in front of your camera out there, buddy. I see that.
OSHA just called. Now I got to go down. It's worse than the code enforcement, Peter, on the corner of Himes and Tampa Bay.
Don't even talk about that because that's a real thing. I was out there at What the Buck tailgate, Paul, and he had code enforcement coming out saying, you need to move it along a little bit. I'm like, I'm doing a live show right now. What are you guys talking about? Well, you're by the curb. You're too close to the street at this point. Paul,
do you working the corner? Is that what's going on here?
I was working the corners. Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I've also heard, Andrew, what I've heard is the phrase, don't you know who I am, might have been used to this law enforcement official.
I'm sure it was.
I did. I said I'm the Rolex reporter. I'm doing the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. 274,000 views on Facebook.
Yes. Paul, a Tampa Bay historian. And that's what I've always thought about you as a Buccaneer historian expert, history expert. But you mentioned the third wheel the Rays are. And I mentioned the Buccaneers on their 50th anniversary coming up in 2026. But I know you're also going to know a little bit about the fact that this year, the first wheel of Tampa Bay sports, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, are actually going to be celebrating their 50th year. And, they play over here in LA. So you come over here for a Rowdies game, a Rays game in Tampa, or a Bucs game this next season. You come over to Ferguson, we're going to have a party.
I think that's good. Now, it's funny that the most well-known player in Rowdy's history is, of course, Rodney Marsh. And
Yes.
I remember my first ever big soccer game that I went to, Football League game, back when I was very, very young, years ago. Rodney Marsh was playing for Fulham, so I did see him play in that game. But, yeah, I call it soccer because I follow real football. But, I go to any sporting event. I'll be over in Tampa next month. I'm going to be doing a couple of Lightning games, some spring training baseball, going to do some work with the Buccaneers. So, yeah, I'm sure we can catch up at that point.
Can I be your plus one?
No, I've already got a plus one. It's got 274,000 votes.
Boom, baby!
Damn.
That's what I'm talking about right there, Mr.
Things
Paul
little.
Stewart of buckpower.com. Let's go out to I'm right. I think this was the best hire. I mean, guys, let's go around here. Paul, you think it's the best hire at this point? Yes or no?
Yes, because it stayed in-house. And I don't know enough about all the other candidates. They're just names. So, yeah, I'm all for it. 100%. Let's move on. Good deal.
Okay. All right, Ray, best hire in your opinion?
I mean, you know what? I fell in love with Nate Shawhouse or whatever right off the bat last Saturday. But obviously, coming from Mike McDaniel and having being the valedictorian of his high school class and then going to Yale, playing for 3 years and transitioning to a player coach, follows it up by, I think, coaching at Princeton. This guy's a smart cat. And I think he's a dog. He's young enough. He's got the right role. And at this stage, I don't want to say we need someone to hold Baker's hand. We just need to let Baker bake and shake and bake, and let this offense use that running game as Paul was talking about.
You'll be my best friend for life there. Shake and bake. Let's go out to Mr. Andrew. Yeah, shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
What's that even mean? Yeah,
If I wanted to raise two wusses, I would have named them Dr. Quinn and Medicine Woman, okay?
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. That's why you're on this show right there, Talladega Nights. Love it.
Yes, great. I love crepes.
I love crepes. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I love crepes. It's not that hard. All right, Drew, best hire in your opinion? Even though you're a Giants fan, looking from the outside in here, best hire the Bucs could have got?
I mean, listen, he's an impressive guy. I don't know if you guys are aware of where this guy comes from, even what city he comes from.
His
and
mom?
when I mean city. He comes from Lizard Lick, North Carolina, which
Lizard
you
Lick.
guys may know from Lizard Lick Towing, the show that used to be on a reality TV show.
Yeehaw.
And I'm not even kidding. Like, legit, there was a Lizard Lick Towing TV show. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Peter, are you okay?
That's great.
So he went from there to Yale University. Like I said, and this is a fast up-and-coming guy as well. Look at the career he's had there. Goes and does some college stuff with Yale and with Duke originally there. Does a couple of minor jobs with the Dolphins there. Just a couple of years ago was their offensive quality control coach. Like, that's not a very high level job in a coaching tree, guys.
And the thing is, I think that Mike McDaniel, because of the situation, he didn't bite off more than he can chew. But I think that in the second, third year of his coaching stint in Miami, everything's kind of showing. It's a lot. It's a lot to be the big guy at the front office, which as we know, Liam Cohen's going to find out 5 minutes ago. But I think that not that this guy won't himself be a head coach, but I think it's the perfect hire for this organization, for this team. And that's what this team continues to do. Make the right hires in the right positions. So let it flow, let it go, let yourself flow, slow and low. This is the Buccaneer tempo.
All right there, John Gruden. Let's go out to Joey Vincent there. Sir Paul.
Today, apparently.
Yes, he really has. Joey here, big-time Paul Stewart fan. Sir Paul, I owe you donuts. You know Joey Vincent.
Yes, I do. He and TJ and I met for coffee and donuts when I was out there last, and I've offered him to trade him a Buck Power coffee mug in return for 12 donuts. Don't say I won't do anything for money, because I will.
Well, there you Well, there you go. We're really off and running today here on the Sports Web. Tim Locke says Trevor Lawrence is the next Blaine Gabbert. Laugh out loud.
Oh God!
Wow, that's where quarterbacks go to die at this point in Jacksonville. There with Shad Khan, who, by the way, has more relevance in a James Bond villain movie as a James Bond villain than an NFL owner. I mean, honestly, Paul, what do you give this? A couple of years until this really blows up and Cohen in the Jaguars' face?
Well, the way you look at it is certain franchises are bad in the way they're run. Now, you can go back to the Buccaneers 80s and early 90s with Hugh Culverhouse. They were a badly run franchise, and it wouldn't matter who you put in there, they weren't going to succeed because the culture wasn't right. And that's where the Glazer family and Tony Dungy turned everything around in the mid-90s. Now, if you look at the other franchises, right now, the Raiders are a joke. You know, and I appear on Vegas Sports Radio, and the Raiders are a bad franchise. They're being run badly. And Jacksonville, for so long, have been in that category. Now, Shahid Khan also owns one of the Premier League soccer teams, Fulham, and he does the same thing here. You know, he's just a bad owner who can't help putting his foot in it, saying and doing the wrong thing. You've got the same thing with Woody Johnson of the Jets, and he said the other day, "I need to become a better owner." Yeah, sell the team, get someone else to do it. So to be honest, Jacksonville, until Jacksonville changed the culture and the whole organisation, and that comes from the top, it wouldn't matter if you put Vince Lombardi in there, he's not going to succeed. And Liam Cohen is not Vince Lombardi. In 50 years' time, we're not going to be saying we should rename the Super Bowl trophy the Liam Cohen trophy.
There was talk of naming it Tom Brady. Should we name it the Tom Brady?
You don't change
it. No.
No.
They're going to rename it after Taylor Swift after next Sunday. We all know that.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment, but Spy Tech going to the Raiders. Do you think, Paul, he can turn this around?
Again, slow process. Now, what he's got to do is keep Mark Davis out of the office. He's got to say to him, go and get a decent haircut, leave running the football to me, because I know what I'm doing. And John Spytek does. But right now, the Raiders are a perfect example because they brought in Mike Mayock a few years ago to be their GM. And Mayock was one of these draft gurus. Oh, you should take this guy, you should take that guy. Like the Todd McShay and the Mel Kiper Jr. who think they know everything. So Mayock became a GM and completely screwed that franchise over because he did not know what he was talking about. So Spytek's got to come in, and to turn a franchise round, you've got to slow down first, stop the going in the wrong direction, then turn it round slowly but surely. So yes, I think he can do a good job, but it's not going to be a quick exercise. It's going to be a 2 to 3 year process. But yeah, I think the first step, they've got a good GM in place. Good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck to him. And you're exactly right with Mark Davis. He looks like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber right there, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy.
Wow. I'm so flexed out. Andrew's been telling me for the last hour, as Paul's been just awesome. He's like, you're too flushed. You're too flushed. And I'm trying to adjust. But, Peter, this is our bar shot that we used from 2018 through 2020 till COVID and, getting that party deck in the shot. And I let everyone know, and I want to remind you guys again, you're watching the Sports Web here, and Peter and I are going to be down here live tomorrow for a 2-hour pregame show up to, I call it a pregame. I'm like, Coach, it's the Pro Bowl. We're not, but we're going to be under the stairs, and we're going to have our third mic set up. Pro Bowl. We're gonna have our mic. We're gonna have our mic set up. So we want everyone to come by, have a great time. Come down here, give us your take on the Grizzard hire, the Buccaneers, everything. We'll be down here live doing a 2-hour show. But yeah, I apologize for being flushed out, guys. I can't control the Florida sun.
Well, it looks good to me. I mean, it's looked good. And sometimes when you move back, it looks blurry. So just stay close to that, or you're gonna break the camera at this point. Andrew, I'd be remiss to ask you about your Giants. How come they didn't fire the coach?
You're asking.
Are they going to draft a quarterback?
Badly run franchises. I think I'm the local expert at this point there at badly run franchises.
Well, talk about your New York Giants at this point, because I know it's a Bucs show here, but we also talk around the NFL and about other NFL franchises. So, and I don't know what happened to.
Oh, we lost Peter. There he is. There he is.
Oh, that was
weird. That was very weird. All right,
Paul. Paul, you're taking over the show. You're hosting this thing, so just be ready.
Remember,
I've done enough hosting TV shows in my time. So
I've heard. I've seen.
The minute we mention the Giants, everything goes wrong. Have you noticed that? But over to you, my friend.
Yes.
I just think it's funny that Peter's like, I have to start the show. I have the better internet. And we lose him mid-show.
Peter, the squirrel just fell off the wheel. Poor squirrel. He's still disconnected. Wait.
Oh, my gosh.
He's actually disconnected. Okay.
That's
There
all
he
right.
is.
Well, you asked me to talk about the Giants.
So Andrew, talk about the Giants and where they are
If
right now.
he's doing this.
So I'll keep it nice and simple. What it boils down to is John Mara is too nice of a guy as an owner. He refuses to fire people that have been with this franchise multiple iterations of GM, head coach. People think it's so easy. Like, oh, the team stinks, fire the coach. Oh, the team stinks, fire the GM. There's like 100 people in that building that no one ever talks about. That a lot of times end up staying through bad times because they're out of the limelight. They're not at the podium talking to the press. People have no clue who they are. And that's, I think, the biggest problem is Mara is too loyal. And that was part of the Daniel Jones issues. He felt like the franchise messed over Daniel Jones, which they did. Let's be very honest about that.
Wait, they did what to Daniel Jones?
Just messed him up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't set him up in a winning situation, didn't set him up with a continuity, didn't set him up with a good offensive line with weapons around. There's plenty of things, but in the end, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback.
Well, Andrew, have you ever looked at the specific highlight tape of his success in college? His highlight. Wait, I'm sorry. There actually was no highlight. The kid was a dog. He had a great arm, but I mean, the fact that he was reached upon. Why did Gettleman even reach out to him? And why did they decide to give him a huge contract like he's going to get better? At least the Buccaneers, before we gave Jameis that second contract, we had door number 2, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, I mean that was the biggest move for that. Are they going to draft a quarterback now in this round? And if so, are they going to try to move up and maybe go for a Shedeur Sanders?
So first off, real quick, because you got a couple questions in there. So if you go back to Daniel Jones with the Duke days at that point, I watched a lot of film on him at Duke once they drafted him. I wasn't doing a show back then. I was trying to reassure myself that everything would be okay. And I was trying, let me just watch some film. Maybe I'm missing something from the bit I had watched beforehand. And what I saw is a kid that tried his hardest, but had no talent around him whatsoever. Got smacked at the ground on a regular basis, just kept getting back up, didn't care. And that's what he was with the Giants. But the problem is you don't have the ability at that point to look at him in a right system and see what he ever could have been. And he's been
That's
ruined.
A fair point. That's a fair point.
And I don't think his ceiling was ever that high to begin with, but I think he's been ruined.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Andrew. You mentioned that you had to go to reassure yourself. Is anyone controlling this show? Here, let's go.
Nope. You are apparently. Now you're gone.
No, Peter's like but I want to say this to Paul. Paul, it reminds me of him trying to go back and justify. We knew what Trent Dilfer was when he comes out of Fresno State in 95.
Right. Do me a favor. Go ahead and control this show. I'm going to try to reset the browser so I can get my camera back. All right. Can you control it?
Are you AI talking to me? Yeah, I got you, brother. But Paul, we had to do that with, and of course you go back and you get the one highlight film of Trent Dilfer under Ted Tedford throwing that bomb, and he gets to the league. Still love the guy. He's the quarterback down there at Alabama or whatever, one of the schools in the AAC. But how did you feel back when we drafted Trent Dilfer that day, and he was going to be the savior coming in and do for this offense what Tony Dungy had already started doing for this defense?
Well, to be honest, it was 1994, which was 2 years before Tony Dungy became Bucs head coach, and back in those days,
I'm testing you.
I know you were. That's fine. I was watching from England, and in those days, pre-internet, I had no clue about anything that's going on with college football. So the first I knew about Trent Dilfer was when his name got called. Now, Trent and I have become friends over the years, so I've got to be a bit careful what I say here. And he's been the first to admit he was never a great quarterback. If he was in the right situation, he could win. And I think Daniel Jones is one of those quarterbacks that if you put him in a situation, he could be a game manager, he could get your team to the playoffs and maybe have success. Brad Johnson was a great example of that. But he's not the quarterback who can go out and win you a game. If he didn't have enough talent around him, which the Giants for the last 3 or 4 years have not had the talent around him, then Daniel Jones is going to get shown up. And to be honest, I don't think at the moment, like Andrew said, you've got to change the culture behind the scenes, and it wouldn't matter who you put out there because they're not going to succeed because they're playing with one hand tied behind their back.
Mm-hmm. There is one more difference, though, between Daniel Jones and Trent Dilfer, and I'm going to give you an out because I was the one that took you down in that road. But Trent Dilfer was a fantastic quarterback. He was more of a leader, and that's why he's even better as a coach, and he was better at the passing camps, and he was great on ESPN. But, I mean, he was more of a leader. Daniel Jones, I just have not seen that leadership quality in his eyes. You think it exists, Andrew, and are we going to see it someplace else next year?
I think when you were watching that, the sun must be in your face like it is now because Daniel Jones purely was a leader. I mean, the guy was the first one in the building, the last one to leave. People are still backing him this year, even with all the issues he was having in that locker room. Daniel Jones is a leader. That I'm not worried about whatsoever. What he can't do is he can't read defenses. He can't make adjustments at the line, and he can't throw to receivers with anticipation so they can hit him in stride and go get some yak yards, which are very key things at that point, obviously, at the quarterback.
Yeah.
He has all the mental stuff. He has a lot of the physical, but he's missing some of the stuff there that make you a very good elite quarterback.
Well,
when you're talking NFL, there's a very slim line between being a very good quarterback and being a guy that's barely in the league. And unfortunately, he falls below that line. I meant that's the guy. I really do. He's a great guy. Like I said, I can't help it.
No, he's a great guy. But what I meant by leadership is I didn't watch all the Giants games like you. Obviously, you do, and I do. I'm more of a Jets fan. I'm kidding. But I never saw Daniel Jones ever yell at somebody. And I'm not saying you got to yell to be a leader, but Trent Dilfer, he would be yelling at his tight end. He'd be telling someone to push up and leading ship, still trying to do what was still a bare cupboard on the offensive side. But I've never seen Daniel Jones. I'm not saying he's analytical and strong as a country mule. I just have not seen that leadership, guys.
No, it's behind the scenes, same as Eli was. He was the Eli clone,
okay, good
like the Wish version of Eli. Like you wouldn't go ahead and see him yelling at teammates and all. You would see him behind the scenes having those conversations, not embarrass people publicly. That's the way he was. But I think there'll be a change of pace because I'm telling you right now, come hell or high water, Shedeur Sanders will be a New York Giant.
Oh, see there you go. They're gonna trade up and get him, and then I don't think they think they're on the board.
I think the only risk they have is the Raiders trading up with somebody to go ahead of them because the Raiders really badly. But when you boil down to it, you got number one, Titans. Now, they say they want a generational talent. I think that's 100% them trying to open up the trade talk to see a possibility offers. They have to, especially when you got a brand new guy at GM in Baganzi. Is that his name? Mike Baganzi from the assistant GM formerly from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's been an up-and-coming name for a few years. I think he's going to be a good hire for them.
Well, let me tell you something. Will Levis does the best mayonnaise commercials, but I still haven't seen him be the guy. So, I mean, it could be a win-win for Tennessee. Somebody trades up for him, or they can take Shedeur.
They need a quarterback. So you got Cam
Tennessee
Ward.
Does?
Yeah, you got Cam Ward sitting there at that point, who is a guy who I word it this way. I kind of look at this the same as I do with last year with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. We said in our show many times that Neighbors had the higher ceiling, Harrison had the higher floor. And it's
okay, good. That was a good point. Yeah,
I think that this year, I think Ward has the higher ceiling. I think Sanders has the higher floor. Like he's going to be probably never going to be an elite quarterback, Sanders.
Hey,
but he'll
so
be potentially an above average to average quarterback in this league.
You can't take someone in the top three if you already anticipated they're going to be mediocre. That sounds like Gettleman drafting Daniel Jones again.
There is only one position in this entire league that you can actually draft based on need, and that's quarterback. Because
sorry about that, guys.
Peter's back.
You were in trouble.
Okay, can we play a game, Peter? I want to play this game. I know you're back, and I want to let you take it over. But while we have Paul Stewart here, we're going to play a game of Buccaneer Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Now, don't somebody yell all 6 of them at once, or 5 of them, or who's been there twice. Starting with Paul, and we'll work around the board. And Andrew, if you get one, you're third. If you get one, that's actually pretty good. And Peter, you go forward since you're the expert behind Paul. Paul, give us your first Buccaneer Pro Bowl quarterback in team history, or not the first one, but one of the 5 that have been there.
Well, seeing as 2 or 3 of them are very good friends of mine, I'll start with Brad Johnson.
Oh, good call. Okay, there you go. I will say, since I know Brad Johnson's a good friend. Oh man, let me go ahead. I'll go Jameis Winston. Okay, there you go. My number 2. So we got Brad Johnson and Jameis Winston. Andrew,
Jeff Garcia.
Like it.
Yep.
Peter,
Baker Mayfield.
And anybody else we're forgetting, guys?
Well,
all at once. Trent Dilfer and Tom Brady. I'm sorry, I totally shot that game. My point was that I wanted to ask this question. Baker gets his second in a row, becoming the first Buccaneers quarterback to get 2 consecutive, but 2 Pro Bowl nods. And all those other great quarterbacks have been there once. But some people question.
Hold on. Great quarterbacks?
Great quarterbacks. Buccaneer Garcia, Dilfer leadership. Got a Super Bowl. Got a ring. Was that a Dilfer reference because you were rounding it back to what I said 10 minutes ago, Andrew?
I'm saying in general. I don't know if I would call a lot of these great quarterbacks. Like, I go, look at the great quarterback, Jameis Winston. His greatest achievement was stealing.
I'm sorry.
Great.
Come on.
Yeah, okay. Jameis went to the Pro Bowl because every single NFC defensive back voted for him for all the bonuses they got him during the ball they threw him. Trent was quarterback in 1997. The Bucs sent 8 players to the Pro Bowl. So I've got a picture of all 8 of them behind me. I will bring you back a little bit, Ray, on Trent being a leader because he wasn't. The problem with Trent is because he wasn't that good a quarterback, and he admits this, and he struggled with the game. The defensive players gave him such a hard time that his confidence and reputation around one Buck place went down. So whenever he tried to yell at the players about getting them motivated, they almost looked as if to say, yeah, why don't you sort your own game out first? So to be honest, he went to the Pro Bowl deservedly as the 3rd quarterback for the NFC in 97. That was his one and only really good year for the Buccaneers. Yes, he won a Super Bowl with the Raiders because he's with the Ravens because his job was hand the ball off and let the defense win the game. Good luck to him. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I'm really, really pleased for him. He's one of the nicest people you could ever meet, and he's become a very good analyst and coach. But for his time with the Buccaneers, that was the high point, was Hawaii after the 1997 season.
Hey, Paul, this Peter and I are credentialed to cover the USF Bulls, and we were there for Alabama Birmingham. And Coach Dilfer came in, and I was up top 3rd deck, and I was doing a little pre-show when he brought his whole team in. He brought them in, and they all got motivated, and they all got lifted for the game. It gave me goosebumps because it took me back to all the games with the Golden Mullet and Trent Dilfer in Tampa Stadium. But I think I'll go ahead and Andrew, you were right. Maybe great quarterbacks was a bit deep on those Pro Bowl quarterbacks, but still
above average quarterbacks.
Okay. Sorry, Peter.
That's all right. That's all right. Let me go to the comments here. I do apologize. It was not my internet. It was just something fluky with the new laptop. It's okay. Roger Shue says, read the damn comments. I am. Ethel will be calling in at 12:20. Please don't. I've had enough of Ethel this week.
Am I going with Ray Stevens in my head now with the streak?
Yeah, I got that reference as well, Andrew. That's where I went with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Good morning, Peter and Ray and crew.
You don't know that, do you?
She made the free shot and got out through the concession stand.
There you go. Exactly.
Yes, they call him the streak. Woo!
Good morning, Peter and Ray and crew. Congratulations to Coach Grizz. Dave says, love it. The Bucs are giving Cohen the middle finger, yes, by blocking them from interviewing our coaches. Is this guy a complete idiot thinking the Bucs would let him do that after the BS he pulled? I have no idea. The guy definitely has a set on him if he's thinking the Bucs are going to allow him to be successful at all. Great internet, Peter. Thank you, Roger Shue. Appreciate you. The tribal troll. I miss Peter's old computer. I miss it too, but I like the new computer now. Doomsday, as it was Doomsday there for just about 5 or 10 minutes after for some reason it knocked it out. Let me go out to CSB brother right here, Mr. Cole Pfeiffer. I'm shocked the Bucs went in-house for the OC. Let's see how he calls the plays. I don't know, to be honest, Ray. I'm going to pull out the coach Boone here. You must be outside your mind. Trent Dilfer was a horrible quarterback as a Bucs quarterback. So many INTs. I panicked every time he dropped back to pass, just like Winston.
Hey, he couldn't throw a screen pass. That was Trent Dilfer's greatest downfall. He'd have guys in the flat 5 yards away, and he would throw it like he was trying to throw it a golden mile, like Ted Tedford taught him back at Fresno State. I'm just telling you, as a Bucs fan, I was waiting for Trent Dilfer to break out, but he had no team around him. Strong defense. But then we find out, ironically, a few years later, with a very strong defense, he wins that Super Bowl with the Ravens. But I'm not giving him more credit than he's deserved. I just think he's a leader. Sorry.
Do you remember a Giants game there, Paul and Andrew? I believe it was 1998. They opened up against, was it 98 against the Giants there? They opened up against them, and he was just downright dreadful. Or was it 99? Which year was it, Paul? Where Dilfer and the Bucs opened up?
It was 1999.
1999, that was the year they went to the NFC Championship game, and it was a horrific game.
He had 4 interceptions that day, I think, honestly.
Yes. 15 of 31, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
And he had a key fumble as well. Yeah.
And Warwick Dunn, 15 carries, 46 yards, so not a good one either.
It was not a good day.
It was in the Meadowlands, right?
Let's see if you remember this. Who was the Giants quarterback?
For 1999?
99.
Or 90. This was Let's see, what day was this thing?
Jeff Hofstetler.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I know.
it was not Hostetler. Who was it for the Giants?
Kent Graham.
Ken
Oh,
Graham.
Kent Graham. That's how far back we're going here.
Oof.
Was it
Wow.
Otto Graham?
I mean,
No.
one other good question for you is Dilfer got benched in that game. Ray, can you remember the former Georgia quarterback who replaced him?
Eric Zaire?
Oh, Peter, no.
Oh,
Very
there
good,
you go.
Eric
Ray
Zaire.
got it. Ray got it. Good job, Ray.
Who, by the way,
Oh!
three of 11 with 1 interception. There was your 4th interception you were thinking, Ray.
I loved
Well-
Eric Zaire. That was a great take, Paul.
Well, how close?
See, what's really good is Andrew's already logged on to buckpower.com and he's reading all the reports I've got about the game.
There you go. All right. In your estimation, because I know you got some other things to do here, Paul, Stewart of buckpower.com. We appreciate the time here on the Evolution. What's the biggest need, in your opinion, for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team going forward in 2025? Is it edge rusher? Is it linebacker? Or is it corner? For me, it's edge rusher. And I'm hoping, and we put this question out there on social media the other night, go for a Max Crosby, go for a possible Myles Garrett, a la Simeon Rice type of move, because this Bucs championship window, I believe, is wide open, and I think they need a couple pieces, namely an edge rusher. What's the biggest need, in your opinion, for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team?
Linebacker, followed by linebacker, followed by another linebacker. Because Levante David is probably 50-50 whether he comes back or retires. There's no way Joe Tryon-Chienka's coming back. And the likes of J.J. Russell, KJ Britt, nice guys, not NFL starting linebacker quality. So whether you go into free agency, probably 2 players from free agency, 1 from the draft, you need linebackers. And to be honest, that comes with edge rushing now as well. That will get sorted out. I think you can post names like Garrett and Crosby. They're not coming. You know, the teams are not going to give those players up. They're staying where they are. You're not going to trade the house away to try and get those players. So that's where I think the situation will resolve itself, by free agency and draft. Don't forget, the Bucs picked up Shaquille Barrett in 2019, and everyone just went, who? And then he turned out to set a franchise record for sacks in a single season. So again, I trust the office staff. This is where my friend Shelton Qualls and his team are watching film on every player right now. They know who's going to be out there. They know who can do what. And again, trust the process. You may well see 3 new linebackers on the Buccaneer roster at the start of the first game in 2025.
I would say Savasier Dennis. I think he could be the key if he can stay healthy. The problem is he hasn't been able to stay healthy the last couple of years, because that is a different defense when he is playing the middle linebacking situation. I think they will address it. Levante David, do you think he comes back for another year, or do you think he hangs it up? And what's Levante David's significance, in your opinion, Paul?
Okay, to be honest, this is one of those decisions that you do not make straight away. So don't forget, go back to, you don't make a decision like that overnight. Remember when Cleveland let Bernie Kosar go, and they did it on the spur of a whim overnight, and it set their franchise back. So he's going to take a month, 6 weeks to go away, think about it, sit down with his family. Does he want to play another season? It's no good us as pundits or fans thinking he should do it. It's down to him. It's a hard job being in the NFL. He's done it for 13 seasons. No one would begrudge him that. Is he an NFL Hall of Famer? That I don't know. I do think he's a Ring of Honor player. He and Mike Evans are definitely Ring of Honor candidates, and that would be, something that would definitely happen. But right now, it's down to him. I think if he does come back, great. If he doesn't, thank you very much. You've been the best number 54 for the Buccaneers since Richard Batman Wood.
Oh, Paul, I love you. I love you, Paul.
A lot of people would say, Derek Brooks is 1A and Levante David is 1B. Do you agree with that? Or are you talking about Batman Wood in that conversation?
No, Hardy Nickerson goes ahead of Levante. What Hardy did to change the defense, Hardy Nickerson changed the whole way that defense was run and the mentality in 1993. Now, again, I don't want to speak ill of Sam Weiss, but he was not a very good coach. He wanted to be seen as an offensive genius. What turned it round, and the likes of Brooks and Sapp coming in 95, was Hardy Nickerson coming in 93 and changing the structure. Derek Brooks is the best linebacker in franchise history. Hardy Nickerson is number 2. Then you go Levante David. Then you go Shelton Qualls and Batman Wood.
Paul, can I ask you, is It's not because the Glazers and this organization, they don't know the history, because that's one thing I think we appreciate with going to our throwbacks and our creamsicles. This team appreciates its history. What's the reason Hardy Nickerson's not already up in that ring? This is a foregone. The culture change. He literally taught Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp how to be Hall of Fame players. Johnny Lynch, Ronnie Barber taught him how to break down film. Explain a little bit about that, Paul, and why is he not yet in that Ring of Honor?
I think it's interesting, Ray. Now, believe me, the Glazer family know all about the history of the Buccaneers because I've talked with them on a one-to-one basis enough. And one of the things I will be doing when I'm over in Tampa in March is spend some time with the Buccaneers to talk about the 50th season and what they're going to be doing like as an all-time team. In terms of people for the Ring of Honor, James Wilder needs to be in there, but I know there are some off-field issues that have kept him out in the past. Hardy Nickerson, there must be something else that's stopping him being elected in terms of something he said or personalities. Yes. That's the only thing I can think of. So, to be honest, Wilder deserves going first, then Hardy Nickerson, and then probably TJ Reeves goes in after that. Let's put TJ in the Ring of Honor. So you haven't got to take up very much room on the wall to do it. Let's put TJ in the Ring of Honor.
Yes, let's put the media icon right there, TJ Reeves, in the Ring of Honor for his great sideline work. And then, of course, you got Gene Deckerhoff coming back here. I mean, how excited are you? What is he? Is he 80 years old now? I mean, it seems like Gene has been around forever. I met him, and I always talk about this when I was like 10 years old at the Bucs Fan Fest when they used to have those, because no fans would come out. So they would have them at the stadium. They would have the swashbucklers. They would have players walking around, past players walking around getting autographs. And the one guy that I got the autograph was Mean Gene himself, Gene Deckerhoff, Paul.
Well, one of the great stats I've got, and there's a picture up on my wall, because I know, Peter, you actually took the picture, is there have only 3 people who've called a Buccaneer game on the radio in the last 36 years. Gene Deckerhoff's done most of them. TJ Reeves has done a few when Gene's been away or ill, and I called part of the game in London in 2009. So only 3 people have called the game for the Buccaneers, and I'm one of them.
There you go. And by the way, Ray, who was the quarterback in 2009 when Paul was calling that game versus the New England Patriots?
Well, you're putting me on a spot. 2000.
I called his first pass in the NFL, and something he and I still talk about to this day.
Josh Freeman.
Very good. There you go.
It's working today. Hey, can I point out an obvious point we missed here? That when Peter was at the stadium and there were swashbucklers in their outfits and players, he goes to the guy with a suit on for an autograph. But of course, it's Gene Deckerhoff. But doesn't that just sound like Peter, guys?
Yeah, that's because Daniel Jones wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
Where's the sound effect? You lost the sound effects again, Pete?
No. How did I lose the sound effects?
We don't hear it anymore. Did you guys hear it?
Oh, you got to be kidding.
Peter's been working like a DJ over here the last hour, giving us a bunch of wah-wahs, and it's not there. But anyway, I'm sorry, Paul. I just wanted to... Paul, let me ask you this.
There it is. Hold on.
No,
you hear that?
I know.
Oh.
Oh, wow. We got no sound effects again. God,
What's the update?
End the show now. It's not. There's no point now without the sound effects.
Oh, this is killing me. It's killing me. All right. So with that being said, will you shut up? No sound effects again. You suck. Thank you. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate it. Yes.
I'm going to give you guys, because you're saying you need an edge rusher, I'm going to give you a name for the Giants roster that's going to be available that I'm telling you right now, if the Bucs don't look at him, something's wrong. Azeez Ojulari.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He was a second-round pick out of Georgia a few years ago. Was supposed to be a first-round pick, but dropped because of medical concerns. This kid has a lot of trouble staying healthy, but when he's healthy, he is a get to the quarterback, pin your ears back, and just keep on going after that quarterback kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's not the best against the run. He is specific. He's almost like a Yannick Ngakoue like that. Like he's a good guy to go after the quarterback, and that's it. But if you need pressure,
yes. But the Buccaneers don't have a very good history with taking off-ran defensive linemen off the Giants' hands. Did this guy go to USF?
He's not going to USF. No, he did not celebrate 4th of July. And listen, JPP worked out pretty well for you, so.
Yeah, third round pick. He definitely worked out,
know.
and he's from Georgia, I believe, right? Ojulari from
Yeah,
Georgia.
he is. Plus, you already got Sterling Shepard. You already had Ben Bredesen. I mean, why not get some more Giants while you're at it there?
All right, I gotta read some of these comments here. Let's see. Dave says, "Amazing. None of you guys mentioned Doug Williams.
He didn't go to the Pro Bowl.
He didn't go to the Pro Bowl.
I love Doug Williams, but he didn't go to the Pro Bowl. No, he didn't go.
He wasn't that average.
Cole, I was waiting for him to hand off to WD-40. Dave,
Not Doug Williams.
Hendrickson name is starting to pop up because Cincy is going to have to pay Chase and the money right there. Trey Hendrickson, former Saint.
Yep.
Now a Bengal could be a free agent. That would be somebody I think would definitely fill the need. Again, I go with go ahead.
As an edge option because he's a free agent coming off of a really bad year. Obviously had issues where he got traded to Hassan Reddick.
I want Hendricks. That kid, what he brings to the locker room and the numbers he had on it, he was the only player on. He was the only player on a very thin Cincinnati defense, man. Peter, Max calls me. I'm like, but you make it Hendrickson, right? I'm sorry.
Yes, Hendrickson. Not
you makes it Hendrickson. I'm all in on that. But again, remember, if that's your big splash, and that could be a splash for the next few years, you're definitely saying bye to Chris Godwin because there's no way you can pay this guy, and then try to get a Hendrickson come here like a $30 million deal.
Well, here's the thing: is he's still under contract with Cincinnati, and the cap number is $18 million right now. $16 million would go to you guys if you traded for him. So he's not that bad for an edge rusher, actually. But you got to also look at the fact that why would Cincinnati get rid of this guy?
For our first round pick? Or no, why would they get rid of him? I thought you were saying he was a free agent or trouble in the locker room.
He wants more money because he's going to be 31 next year. He knows his time is coming up. And if he has one down year, all of a sudden that money starts coming down. It's all about the money. That's what it's all about with him right now because he knows his time is here. It's all about trying to get the Benjamins here. Okay, that's what it's all about. And
can you hear that again?
No, Peter, you're still playing with sound effects. Paul, you see what I got to deal with, Paul?
So let me ask you this: if you're the Bengals and you had one,
when it comes to free agency, is there is a reason these players are available. If you've got a player who's worth keeping, you move heaven and earth to keep them. You extend them. You do something with them. Now look at the players the Buccaneers have got going out from free agency themselves. Chris Godwin's coming off an injury situation, but he probably will come back. But the other players, when you let them go, it's because you know they can't do the particular job. They've worn out their welcome. Right now, there's a podcast over in somewhere else in America going, hey, the Buccaneers are going to let Joe Tryon-Shiinka go. He was a first-round pick. That would be a great addition. Good luck with that one, guys. So it's like it was the former Bucs general manager who actually said to me, when you sign a player in free agency who's become available, it's like there's a pretty girl sitting at the bar. The reason she's sitting there is because someone's let her go and got fed up with her. Don't ever forget that.
It's the cute to crazy ratio. It's the cute to crazy ratio. That's the problem.
There you go. Yes. All right, let's go out to Dave here. Dave says Hardy Nickerson's one of the most overlooked Bucs of all time. It's almost criminal. He's not in the Ring of Honor. Absolutely changed the culture. Came from the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most underrated and Bucs fans' eyes, not underrated because again he changed the culture, but and nobody thought that Nickerson was going to go to the Bucs at that point. It was him, it was Thomas Everett, and then who followed him? Of course, Alvin Harper, Stonehands Harper.
Where's the sound effect when you need it?
I don't have it. I hate you at this point.
Yeah, Thomas Everett wasn't a free agent signing. We traded a 4th-round pick for him in '94.
Oh, I thought he was a free agent signing from Dallas. Maybe I'm
wrong. We gave him
because he's one of only 3 sets of brothers to have played for the Buccaneers. Because his brother Eric played for us in 1990. He was the last Buccaneer to wear number 42. Eric Everett.
Wow, there you go. All right. Cole says excellent call, Paul. I agree. Cornerback is another top need, but as a free agent move, Paul is so correct about 56. Hardy is not the best linebacker in Bucs history, but is the most impactful linebacker in Bucs history for sure.
Well, no, I think Derek Brooks could make it there. That's where you can make the Derek Brooks, Hardy Nickerson direct tie, because as much as he influenced the entire cultural change for this team, letting them know, or actually Hardy was letting the entire world know that the business was open and we were looking for free agency and building to get better. Whereas what Derek Brooks did over his literally illustrious Hall of Fame career, I think you can make the argument for both of them right there as far as the biggest overall impact on this team. That'd be a good argument someday.
Definitely would be a very good argument as we're having, we're having that type of conversation today. Open phone lines if you want to talk to these guys. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. No sound effects again, Pete. You suck. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. This is not working? No? Not working, huh?
Peter, why don't you give us an assigned sound effect, all three of us, and we'll try to hit it when you need it.
You shut up and be quiet. Dave says, did Harry recommend that computer, Peter, because the computer hates your sound effects? Dave, he probably did, because it is the curse of the Greek at this point. It's always the curse of the Greek. Ever since he didn't like that Tom Brady let's go and said, I hate those sound effects and I wish they would go by the wayside. Just paraphrasing, you would say something else. They haven't worked at all. It doesn't matter, though.
Yeah.
74,000 views on Facebook without sound effects. With sound effects, it doesn't matter. It's all good. Wah, 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 wah. All right. All right. All right, Paul. Give me some final thoughts here, man. We appreciate the time here on the Evolution.
There we go. That's my idea. Sound.
There you go. Good stuff right there. Yeah.
I like it. Woo.
So in terms of, I'm just going to do a couple of ideas I'm going to throw out there for you. First of all, that mock drafts are a complete and utter waste of time because none of the people involved, like Kuiper and McShay, have got any clue what's going on. No team ever talks to them. They have got no idea, and all they do is just shuffle the players around, trying to make themselves look important. What's the point of a mock draft on the 1st of February when you've got free agency coming up? I mean, why would you don't know who the team's going to sign. And then even then, name me a draft expert who even gets the first 4 picks right. So right now, mock draft can go. I've had enough of those. In terms of people criticising the referees and officials, give it a rest. The NFL is not rigged. The referees give what they see. They are the best at what they do. Just as like the best players are in the NFL, the best officials are there. If they weren't good enough, the NFL would replace them. So, it's no good taking a still image and posting it on social media and going, oh, look what they missed. No. You have instant replay. Yes, the NFL is going to probably introduce a challenge for a personal foul penalty. Was it a helmet hit or not? So I'm sick of all these memes about the teams, referees being biased. Kansas City are in the Super Bowl for a 3rd straight year because they deserve to be there. That game against Buffalo, that was a 50-50 decision. They won it. Buffalo would win another week. In terms of the Super Bowl, I don't really care because it's not the Buccaneers. I just hope it's a good game. And dare I say it, oh, God, I want the Philadelphia Eagles to win.
Oh,
no!
Afterwards because I am so fed up with seeing clips of that over-made up tart who's Travis Kelce's girlfriend. That's what I'm taking.
And listen, it's pick your poison. You want the Eagles to beat the Chiefs, or do you want the Bucs to be the only team in Super Bowl history to beat? I realize that Cincinnati beat them in the AFC Championship game, but the Bucs right now is the only team. You shut up and be quiet. God, I miss my sound effects at this point. The Bucs to be the only team in the Super Bowl history to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, but I'm rooting for Philly also to win that game because I'm tired.
Don't forget in that Super Bowl, the reason the Bucs beat the Chiefs was because the Chiefs had lost their 2 starting tackles. They were down to 2 absolute backups playing either end, and the Bucs pass rush was in Mahomes' face all game. He played one of the greatest games I've ever seen to only get 3 field goals. So to be honest, the Buccaneers took advantage of it. They won the game. No disrespect about that, but please don't forget that Mahomes was playing with probably both hands tied behind his back that day, and the Bucs were at home. Congratulations, they won the game. Fantastic, but please put that in perspective.
There was blood on that field. It was like a shark attack. I mean, it was like chum, right? And that's exactly what Todd Bowles and that defense did.
Well, and you got to love Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea coming back there the last couple of weeks. And that defense, by the way, coached by the defensive coordinator, now the head coach of the Bucs, Todd Bowles. And what they did, if you want to put it in real perspective there, besides Washington, you eliminate Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes, and you shut down all those offenses in order to win Super Bowl 55. Still, one of my favorite
don't
Super Bowls to watch.
Don't forget also, because of the COVID situation, there were no fans in the stands. There was no home field advantage. So the Bucs did take advantage of that. One thing I just want to go back to is a great story I've got to tell you about the Pro Bowl.
Yes, do for it. Do it.
I went to the Super Bowl in San Diego, and I was out with all the Tampa Tribune guys, Roy Cummings, Joe Henderson, Marty Strasser, Nick Puglisi, and the late Martin Finelli. And I was telling the story that the British TV had asked me to commentate on the Pro Bowl the following week. And I was trying to get out of it because it was, no one really cared. And Martin Finelli came up with this great line, which was, the only way you could liven up the Pro Bowl would be if the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor again at halftime.
Let me tell you. Wow, and that's journalism. That's journalism, Paul, right there.
All I can say was for the next 30 seconds, no one on that table could speak. Whatever you were eating had gone across the table, and Martin Finelli is just sitting there with this big grin on his face to say, what? It was priceless. Greatest line from the late, great Martin Finelli.
Wait, was Trump president back in 2002? I got to get one joke in when I can, guys.
Oh, God. All right. Paul Stewart of buckpower.com, man. We appreciate the time here, as always, on the Evolution. Don't be a stranger, all right?
I will do. Andrew, pleasure working for you. I hope the Giants get things turned around so we can talk about other games rather than that 99 season opener. Ray, Peter, we'll talk again very soon. So to everyone out there around the Bay Area, have a great day. And I'm getting really hungry from watching all that food being served, so I'm going to go and cook myself dinner.
All right, there you go. Good stuff there. Paul Stewart of buckpower.com. We appreciate you, all right? All right, good stuff.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
It was.
Okay.
Tampa Bay Ray there live from Fergs. We'll be live there tomorrow getting you ready for the Pro Bowl games. And, of course, we got the... Yeah, I know. I don't have any.
Where your sound effects, Pete? How about them Bucs? I got nothing.
Allow us to take on the new role of soundboard.
Soundboard, yeah, exactly. I need to figure this out because and Dave is right. Ever since I got this new laptop, it hates my sound effects. There's something functionally not right with
You want to hear something weird, guys?
Yes.
Something weird. So they got the UFC fight going on all these TVs in here, and I didn't even realize it. I'm sure it's got to be taped, right? Because it's Saturday afternoon, unless the card started in the middle of the day. But there are like large crowds of young males gathering on TVs, and they're really into this fight. I keep hearing ooh and ah. It's almost like we're back watching Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right.
World famous
let's see here. Let's go out to Dave. Can't believe you mentioned Alvin Harper. The biggest free agent bust of all time for the Bucs. That guy stinks. At the time, people thought he was going to be the savior. He's going to be the number one wide receiver for Trent Dilfer at that point.
He saved
and the Cowboys.
He saved some people, but they were young ladies working over at 2001. He wasn't saving anyone over at $1 Place. I mean, let's call it what it is. Travis Bailey will back us up on that, won't he, Pete?
I have no idea, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
The statute of limitations already ran out, Travis. Okay.
Let's go, Eagles, says Ian Shaw right there. Guys, do you care about Super Bowl 59? The phone lines are open, and what do you think about the Bucs hiring Josh Grizzard, promoting there as a
Please apologize to Mike that I missed it.
That's all right.
Sorry.
You're live there, Ray. It's okay. It's all right. All right.
I forgot I had muted. That's my lady, Sherry. So, yeah, I apologize. Iowa.
Let me go on to Andrew. How come they have not fired their coach yet, being the New York Giants?
Because they're cheap and they don't want to pay two coaches.
Wow. So
it's Mara doing Mara things.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I really am. And Old Jalary is a great name out there, a young name that tell us about this young kid, because he did have some productive seasons for the New York Giants. I'm not familiar with them. You're more familiar with them. So you'll give the Bucs fans a little bit of a taste in case he doesn't come back for the Giants. And why wouldn't he come back for the Giants if he's a young pass rusher at this point?
Well, I mean, it's all going to be based on money if he does or doesn't come back to the Giants. I mean, he's coming off a rookie deal. Obviously, the Giants just paid $30 million a year to Brian Burns. So he's going to be their top guy. They still have the rookie deal right now for Kayvon Thibodeau, who, while he hasn't performed like you would hope for a 5th overall pick to perform, he's still a serviceable starting edge rusher. So, and he's got a 5th-year option coming up, which is only $16 million for 2026. So if Ojulari wants more money or wants a place to actually be a full-time starter, the Giants are not going to be the location for him. I do think his best role, though, is as a guy that comes off the bench and just, like I said, pins his ear back and goes after the quarterback. He has a lot of injury issues. He's, missed, I think, 10 games or so the last couple of years here. His sophomore year, he came in and was too big. And that's actually what a lot of the people say was his issues there, because he missed a lot of games that year.
Jesus, Andrew, I feel like I walked off the autosaver parking lot. Like I just bought the car of my dreams, and then you told me as I'm driving off the lot that it's only got 3 tires, the transmission's almost shot, and there's no oil in the engine. I mean, maybe people pass on this guy.
Here's what you got to keep in mind, though. 46 games in his career, okay? 46 games, 22 sacks. And this is a guy that only, half those games or 2/3 of the games at tops are starting jobs. He's coming off the bench some of those as well. So it's not a bad ratio. And again, here's a guy that was also in Wink Martindale's defense for a couple of those years, which is not very good for a pass rushing edge rusher.
Yeah.
Wink Martindale's defense was more like, hey, we're going to put you into coverage and have the safety come up and go after the quarterback. He did those wild, crazy blitzes at that point. So, that's why guys like Judon was so great when he went to New England, because he got out of that system that was horrible.
Wow. You guys really do suck.
So, wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm thinking about where. Bring back Phil Simms.
Still 4-2, okay? Still 4-2. You're halfway there, living on a prayer.
Living on a prayer. There you go. All right. All right. Yeah, I think
take my hand.
All right, go ahead.
Where's your soundboard? Where's your soundboard this evening?
All I know is, guys, the smell of these wings started hitting me now. I mean, it's been great down here at the world famous Ferg Sports Bar and Grill, which, in case somebody out there doesn't know, is down here on Central Avenue, just a wee bit beneath 16th Street in the edge district of St. Petersburg. But these wings started hitting me now, and now my stomach is a churn, and this place is getting pretty full. So continue, Pete, but let's remember, let's land this plane before I get absconded so I can go get some of those wings.
Well, let's go ahead and land this plane.
To say world famous every time.
World famous. Wait,
what?
Remember, we will be there live tomorrow. What time, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy? We shut up and be
That was
quiet.
a sound effect. From 1 to 3, beneath the staircase, getting ready for it's Pro Bowl. I mean, they're gonna have the replay of hopefully this UFC. Oh, it's oh my God, I'm not going to say that name. Way too many vowels versus Oliveira. So, but we'll be down here from 1 to 3. And of course, let me go ahead and say it now. If you're having a party, hosting a party here in St. Petersburg or in the greater Tampa Bay area, and you want to make it just that extra next level special, pre-order your wings from Ferg's. The crew's coming in working all night, overnight, to have wing orders ready to go out to parties all over Tampa Bay. You got to call ahead, make the order, or come down to Ferg's and enjoy yourself live next Sunday for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there you go. And who knows? Maybe we'll be there next Sunday for the Super Bowl if you guys.
Coach looked like he was like
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Andrew, do you care? I mean, you're a Giants fan, but are you kind of rooting for? Are you rooting for Saquon Barkley to win a championship, or do you just want the Chiefs to win?
Good question.
I have no beef with Saquon. I'm one of the Giants fans that does not have any issues with him leaving whatsoever. But there's no way in goddamn hell I'm ever going to root for the Eagles. So,
okay.
Even against the Chiefs.
I don't care. Listen, I got no beef with it. Why does it? I don't understand this. Maybe you guys can answer this. Why is it every single team that has success, people just hate?
It's a good point, because you look at Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, instead of really appreciating the greatness of it. Well, a lot of people would say the Chiefs are doing the same thing with some of the refs.
Continue that narrative.
Here's what it is. Here's what it boils down to is Mahomes, the way he plays, and for people that don't recognize why they're getting the calls they're getting, Mahomes will purposely slow down when a defender is moving towards him, and he will start going down the second that the defender goes after him. That's on the NFL for the way the rule is written. He's taking advantage of it. And if he was your quarterback doing that, you'll all be screaming up and down, thank God he's doing that. That guy's
But our quarterback doesn't lay back. Our quarterback leans in, baby. That's the difference. Shake and bake. No, but I wanted to say this, though. I love the fact that we see those diagrams where the entire country is rooting for Buffalo Bills, and there's that one little stretch that's rooting for Kansas City. I just like the fact that there's this one little hamlet in New York called the Bronx and Long Island. It's the only part of the country that's not rooting for Saquon to get MVP of Super Bowl 59. I'm not saying I like the Eagles having to win him to get him there. Hey, Howley, that Cowboys defensive back, I believe he's the one player I think in history won a MVP on a losing team. No, I could be wrong on that, but somebody did.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see Saquon get the MVP of Super Bowl 59 because he's a dog.
I'm cool with that. He can get it all.
Okay.
I say I have no hate on him whatsoever. My hate is on the Eagles. And it's not even the team; it's the fan base. Those guys are brutal, point blank. These are the same fan base that attacks Santa Claus.
Yes,
Santa Claus.
and the Santa Claus.
Santa Claus?
Santa Claus, and they cheered when Michael Irvin got hurt on the field.
They had a courtroom and a jail in the old stadium. That's how bad the
That's okay. I like the Jets fans a couple years later. Antonio Brown's running off half naked, and people in MetLife Stadium are like, "Huh? This is how Tampa Bay rolls?" Those island people are a little strange.
They were just glad to see dysfunction at a higher level than they had at that point. That's what it boils down to. But look at the Packers game a couple weeks ago when that one fan was going after.
Yes.
And this is the way Eagles fans are. Like there's point blank. I'll tell you, amongst Giant fans, there's a lot of people that will go to the game, will not wear Giants gear because it gets that brutal.
I got to point this out though, Peter. I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot here, but Buccaneers fans, we don't have any frame of reference for how bad the Eagles fans can be because I'll be honest with you, going back to the playoffs last year, and then of course we host the Eagles again this season. Try to kick their ass. And the Eagles fans that came here, they were on their hands in the first quarter. Most were leaving in the third. And I'll be honest, they were pretty quiet. So I got to be honest, I didn't realize that the deep hate of those Eagles fans for a Giants fan especially, it goes deeper than what we've seen, which we haven't seen anything because they've been gone by halftime because we've been taking care of business.
Well, don't lie to me there, Tampa Bay Ray. Let's go out to Dave there. Well, at least the Giants don't let a teenager make player choice for Madden ratings like the Jets do. Giants have that going for them. Think positive.
They didn't take the advice. That's the worst part. It actually would have worked, but it's a shame it would have came from the kid.
Actually, it wouldn't have worked. Well, it would have worked. Yes, it would have if they would have not taken the ratings. And I never hated the Chiefs till this year with Kelsey and Swift overload. It's been like that for the last couple years. Andrew, give me some final thoughts as we do land this plane here on the Evolution.
So first thought, screw the Eagles. Second thought, again, guys, good hire. I think a good pivot, getting your new offensive coordinator, keeping it in-house, keeping continuity for you guys there. I'm kind of curious to see what happens to the Super Bowl though coming up. This is going to be I think a fun game. It's a repeat. I'm just hoping for another Jalen Hurts Hail Mary at the end that literally travels 5 yards. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, there you go. And that says a Giants fan there. Andrew Davis, 2 Giant Goofballs. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Yeah, so 2 Giant Goofballs, one of the co-hosts there of it. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, and whenever anything major happens as well on YouTube, Facebook, and all the major platforms. And we're also on audio as well for those who listen there. So Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the big ones there. So feel free to like, subscribe, and like I said, we'll see you guys on our show.
Absolutely. Sounds good, man. Appreciate the time here on the Evolution. All right.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff there, Mr. Andrew Davis. So 2 Giant Goofballs. We'll bring it back here with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. I know you want to eat. I know you want to get out of here. And
our lips are so close.
Do what you want to do here. So
effects.
Yes, I do need some sound effects here, but I don't have them. I'll try to fix them before when I get off here.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
get it for tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
Brother, all I know is that if we're going to be able to get a Paul and Andrew Davis, but to get a Paul Stewart to come on at what was basically 4:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday across the pond there in lovely England, then we might have to do this more often. It was fantastic talking with him today. I just love the history, and it's funny because Pro Bowl, we're excited. Baker's there, Mike's there, Tristan's there. It's like I didn't know I was going to get this excited again. There really is no more off season, so really looking forward to tomorrow. We're going to have the open mic, and we're probably going to be just continuing a little bit more or a lot more of what we got done here today. Only you and I are going to be eating those delicious Ferg's chicken wings.
Yeah, Ferg's chicken wings, taking your phone calls as always. Didn't have a lot of phone calls today, but I understand, it's a kind of a pop-up show at this point. Didn't really get a chance to promote it. Irregular time, but we appreciate the support as always. Tampa Bay Ray, have fun out there in Fergs, and we'll see you tomorrow here on the Evolution. All right.
All right, brother. See you tomorrow.
All right. Good stuff there by Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. So we will come back here. We'll end the show off. It's time for me to go to work, do some Uber. But if you like the content, like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake as the Buccaneers. promote passing coordinator Josh Grizzard as their new offensive coordinator. The 34-year-old takes control of the third-ranked offense in the National Football League. We'll see what happens going forward because we never sleep here on the Sports Web. We give you Monday, we give you Wednesday, we give you before games, before Bucs games, after Bucs games, during the offseason, free agency, and the draft. Anytime we have some breaking news, I will try my best to jump on. 3 things. You know them, you love them, you got to have them. So here it is. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. As always, go Bucs.